And that is very different from the experience I had post-Vietnam. Very different, and a good thing, in my opinion. But while most people claim to respect and honor those who volunteered to serve, those wars are a distant and sometimes unpleasant series of news items that don't affect most people personally. Most people don't have any connection to what's going on in Afghanistan other than the occasional thing on the news. There is no shared sacrifice. There's no national feeling that we're part of this. So most of our people you deal with have come to see military service as something other people do. And those other people now overwhelmingly come from a tiny sliver of our country, concentrated mostly in the South and the West, in rural areas and small towns. The fear is that there's a distinct possibility that eventually our military, its leaders, will be estranged culturally and geographically from the civilian population they're defending. And I submit to you the creation of an elite warrior class, somehow separate from the rest of our society, is not good for our democracy. And this is, I talked a little bit about that earlier today. So I think it's important that you spread the word to your classmates, to others. Have people consider following your example. Get involved in this program. Venture outside your comfort zone. If you haven't done it yet, I know you'll get an opportunity. When I was out at Fort Indian Gap, we watched a bunch of junior ROTC kids rappel off the 60-foot tower. And I have a hard time. I don't like kind of looking over the edge, but I did it, and it's amazing how you do that, and you feel like King Kong when it's over. So venture outside your comfort zone. Take a risk. Expand what you're capable of doing. Comes to leadership and responsibility, agility, selflessness, and above all, courage. It's important to be courageous in what you do, and that may not always be, pulling somebody out of a burning vehicle. In my opinion, real courage is getting up every day and doing it, even though it's dangerous and unpleasant. You do it because that's what you're supposed to do. I believe U.S. national interest is not determined so much by the cause itself, but who's willing to sacrifice for that cause. Only when the privileged, and that you do military service, only when the elite youth are under fire does a nation define the cause as worth the blood of our young people. So we all, but you're in a better position to do it. Let's challenge gifted and advantaged young people to acknowledge the unearned gift of freedom. And I think that's important as well, to accept the challenge of full citizenship and to shoulder some of the burdens of defending the nation. One of the things the draft did for us was that it required people from elite universities and all segments of our society to give something back to the nation. And I think that service back, I don't care how you do it, whether you volunteer to teach in a inner city school in Philadelphia or work on an Indian reservation, doesn't make any difference. Giving something back is very important. And I'll tell you, that's really what I'm doing in Harrisburg. There was no, you might find this interesting, how I got here. Harrisburg is in deep, serious financial trouble, has been for years. There's all kinds of bad decisions, some criminal activity, stupidity, greed. All of that has combined over the years to put Harrisburg in a position where the city is like $500 million in debt. So the governor declared a state of fiscal emergency and appointed a receiver, my predecessor. Very smart guy, lawyer, bond lawyer. Did it for about 3 months and quit. Got a call one night from a youngster on the governor's staff, to me a youngster who I had known before. He said, hey, what do you know about this receivership in Harrisburg? Nothing. Would you consider coming down and doing that job? No. Would you at least talk to us about it? Well, I said, I'm not a numbers guy. I was an English major, God help me. I'm not a financial guy. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't like people who like that. I don't want to do that. Well, would you at least come talk to us? Okay, so you wind up talking to the governor, it's hard to say no. So bottom line here is they couldn't find anybody else. And what you find is I work every day with pointy-headed intellectuals who think that the solution to everyday problems like this is legislation from the State House. And it's not. The solution to problems like this is people. And when you take this opportunity to wear this uniform and learn how to deal with people, peers, people you work for, people who work for you, people you work with, you learn how to somehow bring those folks together to perform something that's worthwhile, some common task. You can make that happen. And you can make that happen based on the experience you're having right now. So I encourage you to get the most out of this. Demand it from your colonel and the people who are running this program. Demand good training, ask questions, assume nothing, and demand it from each other. Anyway, that's about the best I got. Anybody got a final question?
Anybody have a final question? All right, let's get General Rick. Sir, before you go, I just want to thank you for coming in here and doing this.
I didn't have any choice.
Yes, George, he's like the governor, hard guy to say no to. You go through life, and you get an opportunity sometimes to meet with a no-kidding, I like to call a manly man, who has been there and done this. And General Lynch, if you take a look at his whole body of work, what the heck he's been doing, he's been about leadership from day one, coming in as a pilot to now where he has taken on a big job, and that's trying to get Harrisburg's financial house in order. It's a big job. So how did he do it? First of all, he's a man of integrity. Second of all, he figures out what the mission is, figures out how to get there, and then when he gets around his people, he takes care of his people. I mean, I've read some stuff that people say about him, and that's who he is. He lives, breathes, sleeps leadership. Besides, he's had over 1,000 jumps too. Just on the side, I didn't mention that too. He was has a little bit of physical courage also. So,
And it's screwed up like.
and it's, I had 8 jumps. I always tell people I had 8 jumps, and every one of them was a night jump. I had my eyes shut on the airplane. So, I hope you learned something from him today. Take what he said to heart. When you're trying to get something done, you can't get it done by yourself, and you can't get in somebody's face and jab them. I'm not going to hit you. Jab them in the face. You got to get people together, find out qualified people, and take care of them and send them out and say, hey, let's make it happen together. Okay, again, let's give General Lynch one more round.
Take him to the office now.
Okay.
If you got white